Let's talk about where faith and psychology can intersect. Hey, I'm Dr. Mike, and if you're finding these Win the Day videos helpful, please subscribe and be sure to like them. So today I want to talk about faith and psychology, which historically have kind of been maybe opponents. It seemed like they were opposed to one another. But I really think there's some space where they can relate and intersect. And one place where I really see that is the idea of compassion or grace. There's been a lot of talk and research around self-compassion. And that's really about our relationship with our experiences, with our thoughts, feelings, and memories. And if you check out some of my videos, you'll see that I operate from acceptance and commitment therapy, which really talks about how so often we try to push away and fight against what we're thinking and feeling, but that can just make it worse. So instead, we can create this relationship of compassion towards our experience. And yet, this can be challenging to do because our minds, in and of themselves, are not really compassionate. It tends to be our minds, our brains tend to be very evaluative and comparative. Well, I think that's where God's grace becomes really meaningful. Because from a place of faith, God has given his life for us. And in that space, we experience grace where we're not defined by what we do. And perhaps more related, we're not defined by what we think or feel or remember. And I think this is interesting because at times there can be this sense of guilt for doing things that are wrong, but especially for thinking things that are wrong or feeling things that are wrong. And so when we can lean into this place of grace, then we don't have to spend so much time trying to change our experience or trying to push away our experience. And when we live more in that space of grace, then we're not as defined by those thoughts and feelings and memories. Now, sometimes this can feel risky because our mind says, well, if I allow that space, that grace, that compassion, that's just going to allow me to do whatever I want or feel, and that's going to cause me problems. Well, that's not what grace is, and honestly, that's not what self-compassion is either. It's really about, can I drop the struggle with my thoughts, feelings, and memories? So then I have the freedom to act in ways that are consistent with my values or my virtues. And so I really believe that this place of compassion or grace gives us the freedom to respond in ways that are more effective, that are more adaptive, that strengthen our relationships, that are more helpful to others and more helpful to ourselves. And just reflect on your experience. When you find yourself trying to beat yourself up, getting hooked by guilt and shame, does that help you change? Or instead, do you find yourself just becoming more stuck in that cycle, stuck in that loop? You want to change, but you make a mistake. You have all those memories, those thoughts, what's wrong with me? I'm dumb, I just fail. And then that guilt just causes you to do more of that thing that you're trying to step out of. That's why I really believe that a way to break that cycle is through leaning in and connecting with grace, that place of compassion. Sure, your mind is still going to criticize, at times condemn. That's just part of having a mind. But we can notice those thoughts, we can notice those feelings, and we can bring ourselves back to that place of grace, forgiveness, compassion. Because in that space is what's going to allow us to be courageous, to be strong, to do what matters most to us. So here's your act on it. What would it be like when your mind starts beating you up to take a moment, Notice those thoughts. Lean into this place of compassion and grace. If your mind says you're not deserving of that, that's okay. That's what your mind does. Notice that thought too, and still spend some time really connecting with compassion, connecting with grace, that sense that you are forgiven and that you have worth, not because of something that you have done, but because of what God has done.